edition of Five Strands with Art Del Cueto. Again, I'm your host, and as I've always talked about it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share. The only way we get to move the needle is that we have individuals that may not be in our echo chamber listening to what is really going on. And again, my focus is just common sense. There's got to be common sense on the immigration laws. There's got to be common sense on some type of the issues that continue to plague not just Border Patrol and ICE now, but law enforcement across the country. We've been seeing, and I've been talking about it on the news. I did a couple of podcasts on the side, but we've been talking about the issues that were happening in New Jersey. And again, look, I got countless stories, and I get messages that get sent towards me, and it infuriates me. Why are these individuals that are out there protesting, the agitators, how come they're not facing true consequences? And I think that's the big argument and issue. We constantly hear, hey, they're getting arrested. Hey, there's more arrests. Well, they get arrested, but what are the consequences? And I'll tell you why I say that is because I've been talking to angel moms. I was busy in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to some angel moms. Some of you are aware also that I work as a border security advisor for the Federation for American Immigration Reform. And I was talking to angel moms on there as well through a separate podcast that I'm doing with them. And some of these individuals that were here illegally that have taken lives, because I talked to the angel moms, they don't serve really much time. I mean, I was talking to one that served about a year, and he got somewhat of 5 years probation. He get deported, so I mean the probation doesn't really matter, and I think that's where the problem is, and we saw it for many years, and we continue to see it. Back when I first joined the Border Patrol, we had a meeting with the chief that was here at the time, and I remember one of the questions that an agent had asked specifically was, hey, when we're apprehending individuals and, sometimes up to about 300 pounds of marijuana, how come these individuals are not getting deported? And I remember the chief specifically saying, that's not happening, and if it is happening, it stops now. The chief, the patrol agent in charge, which is the guy, pretty much the chief of the station, was there, and he was asked, is that happening? And he said, yeah, that's what happens all the time. And I remember the chief at that time saying, that ends now. It doesn't happen again. It stops. Everyone that gets arrested, there will be, some type of consequences. That was over 20 years ago, and I can tell you, a whole bunch of individuals got arrested between then and now that were released because they failed to meet prosecution guidelines. Same with these attacks. I've seen the attacks on agents out there in New Jersey. I've seen the video of these individuals that were destroying landscape. They were pulling stuff out of dumpsters and using them as barricades. I saw agents getting stuff thrown at them. I saw one guy with an umbrella, and he was hitting an agent with an umbrella. Why are those people not facing consequences? That's my big question, and I think that's something that infuriates us so many times. And those are the stories that you don't hear. You can come on the news and you can make statements of, look, hey, our agents are out there facing different issues. You can go out there and say, these people will be dealt with and they're going to be detained. A lot of us that have been in the actual fights, the boots on the ground, they realize that a lot of that sometimes is doesn't come to fruition, and that's what's upsetting. There needs to be consequences. These people that continue to break the law need to face consequences. Individuals that are attacking federal agents, and this is a call out to all the U.S. attorneys, you need to start seriously prosecuting these people. They continue to do this. They continue to attack agents because there's no consequences against them. Which brings me to something that's close to home, because we talked about it in the last show when I was out there by the ICE facility waiting for the protesters to show up. And it was the case of Carla Toledo. That way people don't try to correct me. And this is a person that I did some digging, and apparently she got married to somebody back in October. He appears to have been somebody that's also not here legally. And of course, the ICE video, the video that they showed was the Ring camera where ICE is going in the house, but they don't show that they were chasing somebody in that house. At some point, what's being said is she assaulted one of the agents. So again, I ask you, why is she not getting prosecuted? Why is the U.S. attorney not saying, okay, she assaulted an agent, there needs to be a prosecution? Instead, we had people that were protesting. She got released on a bond. She just came back to court, and they just realized, and they said that all charges have been dismissed. That's why we continue to see these tragedies in the United States, because there's no consequences for the people that are breaking the laws, and there's too many loopholes that are allowed for these individuals to remain here. Now, it's nothing against anyone in any way, shape, or form, because people always point the finger. I am 100% in favor of immigration, but I'm in favor of legal immigration. And that is where the problem is. So if we have people that are here, they're DACA recipients, but they're protesting and they're attacking law enforcement and they're assaulting law enforcement. Those people need to be dealt with, and those people need to face consequences for those actions. And that's what I'm asking for. And if there's some other immigration pending for this person, then honestly, this assault should be taken serious. Who she married should be taken serious. What's the status of the person she married? So if there's no consequences, these crimes continue to happen. And so that's what it comes down to. That's what I wanted to be able to speak out and have everyone understand. These incidents continue to happen across the country because there's no true consequences for the individuals that are breaking our laws. So until next time, stay safe and God bless.